You need to get out a little more. This is Buddhist Books Podcast, episode 203, Tipiṭaka, part 129. Well, we finished the Pakitiya rules last time, so you probably already saw the title or the title scroll just now, so you know basically what we're going to be reading next, and I am about to find out. Confession, rules of confession. The Pali word for that is Pāṭidesaniya. Okay, I remember that from the rules for monks. So this is Bhikkhunivibhaṅga, which means basically rules for nuns. And we are just now beginning the rules of Pāṭidesaniya, or confession. If this is your first time seeing me and you would like to start at the beginning of the Tipiṭaka, you can click right there. And that will take you to the beginning. It's about 100 episodes of rules for monks, and then begin the rules for nuns. If, on the other hand, you would like to start at the beginning of the rules for nuns, then you can do so by clicking right there. And without further ado, I will begin the reading. These 8 rules, ladies, for offences which ought to be confessed, come up for recitation. Confession. Pāṭidesaniya. 1. At that time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove, in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 nuns, these 6 nuns, the doggy's joining us, isn't that wonderful? Oh boy. Let's see how much he ruins the episode. Whew. Okay. Sorry. I will continue, and we'll just do our best with the circumstances. Now at that time, the group of 6 nuns, having had ghee asked for, partook of it. People, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, how can these nuns, having had ghee asked for, partake of it? Who does not like well-cooked things? Who does not like sweet things? End quote. Nuns heard these people who, 3 dots, spread it about. Those who were modest nuns, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, how can this group of 6 nuns, having had ghee asked for, partake of it? End quote. 3 dots. Quote, is it true, as is said, monks, that the group of 6 nuns, having had ghee asked for, partook of it? End quote. Quote, it is true, Lord. End quote. The Enlightened One, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, how, monks, can the group of 6 nuns, 3 dots? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, 3 dots, this rule of training. Whatever nun, having had ghee asked for, should partake of it, it should be confessed by that nun, saying, quote within quotes, I have fallen, ladies, into a blameworthy matter, unbecoming, which ought to be confessed. I confess it. End quote within quotes. End quote. and thus this rule of training for nuns came to be laid down by the Lord. Thank you, the group of 6 nuns. All right, I'm sure we'll see them again very soon. Now at that time, nuns came to be ill. Nuns inquiring after the ill ones spoke thus to the ill nuns. Quote, "We hope, ladies, that you are better. We hope that you are keeping going." End quote. Quote, "Formerly, ladies, we, having had ghee asked for, partook of it. Thus there came to be comfort for us. But now it is forbidden by the Lord, and, being scrupulous, we do not have it asked for. Thus there does not come to be comfort for us." End quote. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, "I allow, monks, for an ill nun, having had ghee asked for, to partake of it. And thus, monks, let the nuns set forth this rule of training. Whatever nun who is not ill, having had ghee asked for, should partake of it, it should be confessed by that nun, saying, quote unquote, 'I have fallen, ladies, into a blameworthy matter unbecoming, which ought to be confessed. I confess it,' and quote unquote, end quote. Whatever means, let's do the flashback to the time that they didn't follow that up with 3 dots, but actually said what whatever means. Whatever means, she who is an elder or a junior or one of middle standing, this one on account of relations, on account of birth, on account of name, on account of clan, on account of virtue, on account of the way of living, on account of the field of activity, is called whatever. Thank you, me from the past. Nun means? Nun means she is a nun because she is a beggar for alms. She is a nun because she submits to walking for alms. She is a nun because she is one who wears the patchwork robes. She is a nun by the designation, parentheses, of others, end parentheses. A nun because of her acknowledgement. A nun, parentheses, to whom it was, parentheses, said, quote within quotes, 'Come, nun,' end quote within quotes. A nun is one ordained by the 3 goings to a refuge. A nun is auspicious. A nun is the essential. A nun is a learner. A nun is an adept. A nun is ordained by both complete orders by means of a parentheses formal end parentheses act, at which the motion is put and followed by 3 proclamations, irreversible and fit to stand. In this way is this nun one who is ordained by both complete orders by means of a parentheses formal end parentheses act, at which the motion was put and followed by 3 proclamations, irreversible, fit to stand, and this is how nun is to be understood in this case. Thank you. Not ill means for whom there comes to be comfort without ghee. Ill means for whom there does not come to be comfort without ghee. Ghee means ghee from cows or ghee from she-goats or ghee from buffaloes, ghee from whose meat is allowable. If she is not ill, parentheses, and parentheses, has it asked for herself, in the request there is an offense of wrongdoing. If she accepts, thinking, quote, 'I will partake of it on acquisition,' end quote, there is an offense of wrongdoing. For every mouthful there is an offense which ought to be confessed. If she thinks that she is not ill when she is not ill, parentheses and parentheses, having had ghee asked for, partakes of it, there is an offense which ought to be confessed. If she is in doubt as to whether she is not ill, 3 dots, If she thinks that she is ill when she is not ill, 3 dots, offense which ought to be confessed. If she thinks that she is not ill when she is ill, there is an offensive wrongdoing. If she is in doubt as to whether she is ill, there is an offensive wrongdoing. If she thinks that she is ill when she is ill, there is no offense. There is no offense if she is ill. If having been ill, parentheses, and parentheses, having had it asked for, she partakes of it when she is not ill. If she eats the remainder of an ill nun's meal. Now, okay, that's an interesting loophole. So, again, for the time-traveling nuns who speak English for some reason and are on YouTube, when you're ill, ask for a lot of ghee and then store it away, and then you can eat it for the rest of the year. Does it go bad? Maybe it goes bad. Well, anyway, maybe that's not good advice. Okay, if it belongs to relations, if they are invited, if it is for another, if it is for another, what? Then it's not an offense if she eats someone else's ghee. If it is by means of her own property, if she is mad, if she is the first wrongdoer. Okay, good enough, good enough. Oh boy. So this is Pāṭidesaniya 2 through 8 in one rule that's shorter than the last one. Okay, let's see what happens. Confession. Pāṭidesaniya 2 through 8. At that time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 nuns, having had oil asked for, partook of it. Having had honey, 3 dots, molasses, 3 dots, fish, 3 dots, meat, 3 dots, milk, 3 dots, curds, asked for, partook of them. People, 3 dots, parentheses, it's the same as Pāṭidesaniya 1, but instead of ghee, read curds, and parentheses, or of course, whatever else, fish, molasses, meat. Okay, 3 dots, quote, 3 dots, this rule of training, all right. So it's exactly the same as the whole previous rule, except in rule number 2, it's oil. In rule number 3, it's honey. In rule number 4, it's molasses. In rule number 5, it's fish. In rule number 6, it's meat. In rule number 7, it's milk. And in rule number 8, it's curds. Other than that, exactly the same rule. They asked for it, they partook of it, and got in trouble for it, but then someone was ill and said, oh, if only I could ask for meat. Now that's interesting because the monks are forbidden from asking for meat. There's no exceptions to that. So that's a point in favor of the nuns as far as something they're allowed to do that monks aren't allowed to do. Maybe because, I don't know, ladies have food cravings that men don't understand. I don't know. But there it is. I'm fairly certain that the monks are not allowed ever, no matter how ill they are, to ask for meat. Okay, this rule of training. Whatever nun who is not ill, having had oil, parentheses, honey, molasses, fish, meat, milk, curds, and parentheses, asked for, should partake of it. It should be confessed by that nun, saying, quote within quotes, I have fallen, ladies, into a blameworthy matter, unbecoming, which ought to be confessed. I confess it. End quote within quotes, end quote. Whatever means, 3 dots. None means 3 dots. Not ill means for whom there comes to be comfort without curds. It's an odd choice that Miss Horner made to make it all about curds when it's clearly about many things. All right. Ill means for whom there does not come to be comfort without curds. Oil means sesamum oil, oil of mustard seeds, oil containing honey, oil of the castor oil plant, oil from tallow. Honey means honey of bees. Molasses means what is produced from sugar cane. Fish means it is called one that lives in water. Meat means the meat of those whose meat is allowable. Milk means milk of cows or milk of she-goats or milk of buffaloes, milk of those whose meat is allowable. Curds means curds from just these. If she is not ill and has them, ask for herself, parentheses, it's the same as in the previous one, except instead of ghee, read curds, or again, honey, oil, molasses, meat, etc. End parentheses, if she is the first wrongdoer. Recited, ladies, are the 8 rules for offences which ought to be confessed. Concerning them, I ask the ladies, I hope that you are quite pure in this matter. A second time, I ask, I hope that you are quite pure in this matter. And a third time I ask, I hope that you are quite pure in this matter. The ladies are quite pure in this matter, therefore they are silent. Thus do I understand this. Told are the offences which ought to be confessed. Well, we finished an entire section of rules in like 15 minutes. And mostly because I don't want to have the title be ridiculous, I'm going to go ahead and close the episode with that. And then next time we will get into the, I believe it's called Sekhiyā Dhammā. I mean, this is short though. I mean, if I read this, we'll be finished with the 3rd book. All right. It's going to be a ridiculous title. Actually, rather than listing out the numbers, I'll just say the title you already saw. Pāṭidesaniya and I believe Sekhiyā Dhammā is the way that I'm labeling the rules of basically etiquette. So these are wrongdoings. It seems like they have fewer. Or, yeah, they have fewer than the monks do. Odd. I mean, because the rules for nuns are famous for being, there's many, many more rules for nuns than there are for monks, but when it comes to the rules for confession and the rules of basic etiquette, I don't know if you remember, if you saw it, the rules for basic etiquette go on and on and on and on. Usually it's the group of 6 monks standing with their arms akimbo or walking around looking here and there when they go into the village, or any number of many, 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 many things. But this is just 4 pages. Let's finish book 3 of the Vinaya Piṭaka today, shall we? These rules for training, ladies, come up for recitation. At that time, the Enlightened One, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 nuns, dressed with the inner robe hanging down in front and behind. People, spread it about, saying, quote, how can these nuns dress with the inner robe hanging down in front and behind, like women householders who enjoy the pleasures of the senses, end quote. Nuns heard these people who spread it about. Those who were modest nuns, spread it about, saying, quote, how can this group of 6 nuns dress, and behind, end quote, quote, is it true, as is said, monks, that the group of 6 nuns, and behind. And quote, it is true, Lord, end quote. The enlightened one, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, how, monks, can the group of 6 nuns, 3 dots, and behind? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, 3 dots, this rule of training. Quote then quotes, what? I will dress with the inner robe all round, parentheses, me, end parentheses, and, quote then quotes, is a training to be observed. End quote. One should dress with the inner robe going all round one for covering the circle of the navel, the circle of the knees. Whoever out of disrespect dresses with the inner robe hanging down in front or behind, there is an offense of wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional. If she is not thinking, if she does not know, if she is ill, if there are accidents, if she is mad, if she is the first wrongdoer. 3 dots. At that time, the enlightened one, the Lord, was staying at Savatthi in the Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's monastery. Now at that time, the group of 6 nuns eased themselves and spat in the water. If you're wondering what that means, to ease oneself is 1930s British lady for to pee. They peed and spat in the water. Okay. People, 3 dots, spread it about, saying, quote, how can these nuns ease themselves and spit in the water like women householders who enjoy pleasures of the senses? End quote. Nuns heard these people. I'm just laughing because it's the idea that that's the pleasures of the senses. What did you do today? I enjoyed the pleasures of the senses. Oh, really? Do tell. What did you do? I peed and spat in some water. You need to get out a little more. There's more to do. If enjoying the pleasures of the senses is your goal, Okay. Nuns heard these people who 3 dots spread it about. Those who were modest nuns 3 dots spread it about, saying, quote, how can this group of 6 nuns 3 dots in the water? End quote. Then these nuns told this matter to the monks. The monks told this matter to the Lord. Then the Lord questioned the monks, saying, quote, is it true, as is said, monks, that the group of 6 nuns, 3 dots, in the water? End quote, quote, it is true, Lord, end quote. The enlightened one, the Lord, rebuked them, saying, quote, how, monks, can this group of 6 nuns, 3 dots, in the water? It is not, monks, for pleasing those who are not, parentheses, yet, end parentheses, pleased, 3 dots, this rule of training. Quote then quotes, I will not ease myself or spit in the water, and quote then quotes, is a training to be observed, end quote. And thus this rule of training for nuns came to be laid down by the Lord. Now at that time, ill nuns were, parentheses, too, end parentheses, scrupulous, to ease themselves and spit in the water. They told this matter to the Lord. He said, quote, I allow, monks, a nun, if she is ill, to ease herself and spit in the water. And thus, monks, let the nuns set forth this rule of training. Quote then quotes, I will not ease myself or spit in the water if not ill, and, quote then quotes, is a training to be observed, end quote. Again, as before, this is very rare, because normally when I'm pointing out the differences between the monks and the nuns, I'm pointing out how unfair it is to the nuns. But monks are not allowed to ease themselves or spit in the water, regardless of whether or not they're ill. As far as I remember. I don't remember that being an exception. Okay. If she is not ill, she should not ease herself or spit in the water. Whoever out of disrespect, if not ill, offensive wrongdoing. There is no offense if it is unintentional, if she is not thinking, if she does not know, if she is ill, if done on dry land, she pours water over it, if there are accidents, if she is mad, if she is the first wrongdoer. Recited, ladies, are the rules for training. Concerning them, I ask the ladies, ... Thus do I understand this. Told are the rules for training. These 7 rules, ladies, for the deciding of legal questions come up for recitation. For the settlement of legal questions arising from time to time, a verdict in the presence of may be given. Really? Are those the words on the page? Let me try it again, because it didn't sound like a sentence. Okay. For the settlement of legal questions arising from time to time, a verdict in the presence of may be given. Those are the words on the page. I can't make much sense of that, but, comment below if it makes sense to you, I guess. A verdict of innocence may be given. Okay. A verdict of past insanity may be given. It may be carried out on her and acknowledgement. There is and the decision of the majority. The decision for specific depravity. You say potato, I say tomato. The covering up, as and with grass. Recited, ladies, are the 7 rules for deciding of legal questions. Concerning them, I ask the ladies, ... Thus do I understand this. Recited, ladies, is the occasion. Recited are the 8 rules for offenses involving defeat. Recited are the 17 rules for offenses entailing a formal meeting of the order. Recited are the 30 rules for offenses of expiation involving forfeiture. Recited are the 166 rules for offenses of expiation. Recited are the 8 rules for offenses which ought to be confessed. Recited are the rules for training. Recited are the 7 rules for deciding of legal questions. So much, of the sayings, and of the Lord, handed down in clauses, contained in clauses, comes up for recitation every half month. All should train therein in harmony, on friendly terms, without contention. Looking at you, Kondakali. Told is the Nuns Analysis. Told are both analyses. And finished is the 3rd book. This is where the 3rd book goes. I will slide it on in there. And next time on Buddhist Books Podcast, we will be looking at the 4th book. There's only 6 books in the Vinaya Piṭaka, and we've finished the rules for monks and the rules for nuns. And honestly, I don't know what else there is in the Vinaya Piṭaka besides the rules for monks and the rules for nuns, and I'm not going to peek ahead. So we're both going to find out, unless you already know, obviously, then only I am going to find out. But I'm looking forward to that. We finished the Bhikkhunivibhaṅga today. I didn't even expect to finish the Pāṭidesaniya today. All right, cool. This one was fun. I mean, a bit. Okay, well, have a happy holiday season for those celebrating. This is Christmas Eve today, so that's fun. Here in Goa, the churches are all decorated, so Priyal and I are going to be going out later at night and looking at the lights and probably taking pictures and whatnot. So that'll be fun. And I got her a couple of presents for opening in the morning. All right. I hope you're doing well, whoever's watching this. And please do feel free to click like below and subscribe if you haven't already. And for those on the podcast who are hearing me but not seeing me, hello. I haven't forgotten you. And I will go ahead and close. To the north and to the south, to the east and to the west, to the spirits of light among us and to the spirits below, we send out our reverent love and compassion. May all beings be happy. May all beings be serene. May all beings be in peace. Until next time.